I'm going to talk about the application that I'm going to build with the lottery contract. Here is a mock-up of it. So this is it, pretty straightforward. This is going to be focused entirely on how we interact with Ethereum contracts using JavaScript code. This is a much more focused on some of the nuts and bolts rather than making a pretty looking application. The subsequent apps will look elegant, but for this one, it's just going to be all about functionality. At the very top, I will have some text that is focused on informing the user on the status of the contract. We are going to say who the manager of the contract is. It's going to be the manager's address and not a name. We will then state the number of people entered into the contract and how much money is in the pool. Most of this information will be obtained via calls. Calls are a read-only process to obtain information from an individual contract. The next two sections will be more interesting. The next one down is going to enable the user to enter into the lottery. So the user should be able to enter some amount of Ether to enter the contract and then to hit the enter button to enter the actual contract. So somehow I want to call the enter function on my contract. Underneath that, I will have a section that is intended for use by the manager of the application. So it's going to be a button that calls the pick winner function, which can only be invoked by the manager of the contract. For my first time through the application, I am always going to show the section called pick winner. In the future, I will do more conditional rendering, whether or not to show that particular element based on whether the user is logged in. At the bottom of the page, I will have a status area text. After picking the winner, we might show the address of the person who won. The status text area will be used to inform my users about what's going on with the contract. Whenever a user tries to modify data inside of our contract, that issues a transaction to the network, and it can take anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds for that transaction to be processed and cleared. So the users need to be made reasonably aware of what's going on as they start interacting with the contract. So I want to show them some status information like a winner has been picked or something. I just want to inform the users about when a given operation has been completed. For this first application, I'm just going to show text status. In the future, I will use spinners and more complex statuses to give users a better idea of what is going on and make the application more dynamic and lively. I will be using the R.I.S.E test network for every contract I create to get a better idea of how long it takes for these contracts to be processed. We could use a local network that processes transactions instantaneously, but then you would be developing an application under the assumption that users would instantaneously see the results of their transactions. My personal belief is that this leads to some poor development practices and poor user interfaces because you're not using or developing the application as your end user will be experiencing it. So this is why I'm using R.I.S.E. I really want to see those delays and understand how they affect users. So I will be using Create React App to generate this project. So I'll head over to my command line terminal. I'm going to get out of this project. So now I'm in the main projects folder. And so I will be using Create React App. to generate this project. If you have never worked with React, I encourage you to subscribe to my other channel called MicroHerb. And I'll write it here. It's spelled like this, MicroHerb. You can look up that channel and subscribe to it, where I do nothing but teach how to develop in React. So create React-app is a command line tool used to generate a React application, and I'm going to use it to generate a new project that will serve as the front end for this application. I'm going to generate a new application by using the Create React App tool, like so. And after Create React App, I'm going to call this project Lottery-React. Unfortunately, Create React App does not make it easy to integrate other code bases like my existing lottery contract. So on the next project, I will make a single repository to house all of my code. But this one here with Create React App Lottery Contract, I'll go ahead and hit enter. And this one is going to have some limitations on my ability to require in or make use of JavaScript files across folders. All right, so I'm going to stop here and I'll continue writing my application in a subsequent video. See you then.